Welcome to another episode of Get Vision the TV, where our motto is, if you can't get it, you can't realize it. Today we have with us our special guest, who is actually my beloved aunt, who is an educator, a motivational speaker, and life coach, mother, and now the author of her book entitled A True Story of Struggles, Success, and Tragedy. Welcome, Esmine Dunn. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Michelle, and how are you?
I'm doing good. It is such a pleasure to have you in studio with us today to talk about you, talk about your life, talk about your new book that you have authored. And it's bittersweet for me. I know pretty soon you're going to tell us a little bit about everything that happened. What really inspired you to write this book?
Well, I was inspired by my son. I actually was looking at a job. He didn't want me to work. So one day he said to me, "Moms, why don't you write a book?" I said to him, "I can't write a book." He said, "Moms, you've been an educator for years. You should be able to write a book." So I started to write the book way back in 2010, but I put it away. Mm-hmm. And it was not until after April 15, 2012, that I started to write again.
Okay, very good. And the book is about your struggles growing up as a child from Jamaica and your successes in Jamaica. And of course, we'll get to the tragedy in a minute of what really happened at the end of the book. Just tell us a little bit about the struggles that you faced as a child growing up in rural Jamaica.
As a child growing up in rural Jamaica, we did not have any of the amenities and the utilities that are present today. We had to make do with other things. We had to go to the spring for water.
Right.
We had to cut firewood. We had to walk literally 4 miles to and from school. And if it rained, then we had to take off our shoes.
Wow.
Because then we had only one pair of school shoes. So if it gets wet, then the next day you might have to go to school barefooted.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, and being the last of 9 children, that was a struggle in itself. And I did not really want to go through the struggles that I saw my brothers and sisters going through.
Yes, right.
So I decided very early that I had to break the cycle.
Right.
I did not want to be a farmer's wife. So
did not want to be a farmer's wife.
Right.
No.
So in going to school, I tried to do my best that education was the way out and to break that cycle of literally poverty.
But you know, in reading the book, and I remember one section where you mentioned that you went to the spring for water, and in coming back from the spring, half of the water because you were rushing. Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, in the mornings before we go to school, we had to use a bucket, and we had to fill a barrel of water before we go to school. But if you fill the bucket and you walk very fast, the water would splash out. So when you get home, you had like a half a bucket of water. So you had to make more trips. You had to make more trips. So we decided then that when we were going, we would run, and when we were coming back, we would walk slow, so that more water is in the bucket when we get home. It was fun sometimes. It was fun. We never saw it as work. We saw it as things we had to do and chores, and we were happy doing those things. We had a lot of work to do because Daddy was a mixed farmer. He had goats, cows, pigs. He planted banana, all sorts of crops. And there were times when we had to go to the field to help with these crops.
Right.
But we saw it as fun.
You know, the struggles that you faced even after you left rural Jamaica and lived in Kingston, in the urban areas, you got married and then divorced. Tell us a little bit about that part of your life.
Well, my marriage was good for a period.
Right.
But then, like, should I say most marriages, there are hard times, there are good times and bad times.
Right.
But there came a time when it got so bad that I thought the best thing for my child and I were to get out of the situation.
Right.
Because I thought that an unhealthy home environment can have everlasting or devastating effect on a child.
Right.
So then I used that to say, I can be the best parent for my child. So then I focused mainly on my child. And so I decided I'm getting out of this marriage, and I never looked back.
And the success from that was your child being the Superman that we in our family call him to be.
Yes, he became the star in my life.
Right.
He became my rock. We became very, very close because he understood what we were going through. And I helped him to realize that there are things in life that he needed and there are things that he wanted. And there was a big difference between needs and wants. And he understood that very well.
Auntie, just look in the camera and talk to a single mom today who is struggling with her children and don't know what's the next best move that they should do.
There are many things a single mom should do. First thing, she should trust God. Second, she should see her children as the focal point in her life, the main interest in her life. It's going to be tough. You're going to cry. I cried many times, but I do it in a very special way. When I go to shower, I'd cry. So when I get out of the shower, the tears would be dry. Mm-hmm. So my son would never see or realize that I was crying.
Pain, right.
No, because children weren't asked to be born.
They couldn't choose their family.
They couldn't choose their family. You can choose your friends, but not your family.
Not your family.
So when a child is born, one has to see the child as the centerpiece of your life. It doesn't matter if the struggles are there. You have to change. You have to have a mindset that you have to change your way of life.
Wow.
Some of the things you used to do, you just can't do them anymore. Some of the things you used to buy, you have to say, well, he needs a book for school, so I have to make the sacrifice and get him the book that he needs. You have to be a mother, father, brother, nurse, teacher. And the most thing you have to do, you have to give the child unconditional love.
That's it.
Unconditional love.
In reading the book, the struggles, the success, for me, were enlightening and opened my eyes to a lot of things that happened in your life, even growing up and, but the part that really got me is the part about the tragedy. And of course, that involves another integral person in this book, your son, your beloved son, Damien Dunn. Tell us a little bit about Damien, who he was, what he accomplished, and what happened afterwards.
Damien was my real special son, my only child. He was so special to me. His life started back in the 5th of November 1981. And he was like a gifted child in his own right. He started reading at the age of 3. He went to Wolmer's Prep School.
That's in Jamaica, right?
Yeah, in Jamaica. Wolmer's Prep is one of the best prep schools in Jamaica.
Okay.
And after that, while there, he got involved in a lot of activities at school. He campaigned, and he was elected head boy of the school at age 9. At graduation, he gave the vote of thanks.
Wow.
And from Wolmer's Prep, he went on to Campion College, where he did very, very well. After he left Campion, he went to Mount St. Michael Boys' School in the Bronx for a year. And from there, he went to FIU, Florida International University. And there he excelled. There he took part in everything that was available to him. He was in honors college. And he was also president of the debating team.
Right.
And that allowed him to travel to different states and different places to debate. Mm-hmm. And while he was at FIU, he got accepted at 7 colleges to do his law degree. And he selected Harvard.
Wow, yes.
And he went and he graduated in 2008. So that is Damien's success in a nutshell.
I mean, coming from Jamaica, going to St. Michael's, FIU, and then to Harvard. And he was actually the first.
Yes, he was the
student. I read it in
first
the book.
student from FIU to attend
Harvard Law
School.
Wow.
The very first student. He created history. And they have a scholarship at FIU in his honor right now.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. And even just, reading about Damien, I didn't even know that he liked Marigold Children's home in Jamaica, and that was one of his passion, giving back to the homeless. And of course, with Get Vision TV, that's our passion as well, that he gave back to the homeless and to the less fortunate.
It was a sad thing for him. He enjoyed going.
Right.
But every time he went and came back home, he was sad. But I think it helped him to be more appreciative of who he was. Because I don't know if you realize that Damien his thumb was a little deformed.
Right.
And when he went to Marigold and saw the disabilities and the sicknesses and all the differences that the children, different sicknesses that the children had, he was more acceptable that his thumb did not prevent him, or it was just a minor matter.
Wow. Let's fast forward a little bit to after he left Harvard, he worked in a law firm in New York and then moved to Florida. What happened after that?
While he was at Harvard, he did summer at Covington and Burling in New York, and also at Bilsing and Sunberg in Miami.
Right.
So when he graduated, they both offered him positions in their law firm, and he accepted the one in New York.
Right.
But after a while, the cold and the snow got to him, and so he decided that
because he was asthmatic too,
he
right?
was asthmatic, yes.
Right.
And the cold didn't do too well with him. Mm-hmm. So he decided that he was going to apply for a job in Florida. So he got one at Bilsing and Sunberg, and that's where he was working until the time of his death.
Okay. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports that Florida is one of the most populous states for motorcycle travel. 1 out of every 10 fatal motor vehicle accidents involve a collision with a motorcycle, and that 80% of Florida's motorcycle crashes result in an injury or death to the rider. Also, about half of the motorcycle crashes occur during the weekend. Sunday, April 15, 2012. Tough for us, but let's just take a minute and recount that day.
That's a day I would hope I would forget, but I just can't.
Cannot forget.
It's a day that stands out in my mind vividly. And to mark that day, Sundays are special for me because I light a candle in the house every Sunday.
In honor of Damien.
In honor of Damien. If I should go back on to the 14th of April.
Saturday,
right. The day before he died. We spent the entire day together. I cleaned, I did his laundry. He played with Max. Max was a special pup.
Pet, right.
Mm-hmm. And we had food, we had dinner. And while we're sitting there, a text came in, and he said to me, "Moms, Andre wants to know if I'm going riding with them tomorrow."
Because he rode a motorcycle.
Right, he rode a motorcycle. And he said, "Moms, I don't have to answer the text right now because it depends on how I feel tomorrow." Mm-hmm. I said, "That's true." So it was about 7:30 in the evening that I said to him, "Dame, I'm going home." So I got up, went to the door, said, "Bye, son, love you." And he got up to close the door, and he came and he hugged and kissed me and said, "Bye, Mom, love you, see you tomorrow." And I said to him, "Remember to come for your dinner because I'm cooking your special meal."
Right.
So we
stew
peas and rice.
With pigtails.
Right, with pigtail. That was a special meal. You could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we left on that good note.
Nice.
And I went home. And I got up early, did my devotion, and cooked one big pot of stew peas. Then I went up to Lincoln Mall. They had a farmer's market. So I bought orchid and coconut water. When I was coming down the street, I looked down the street and I saw a police car at Damien's gate. But in Miami, it's not unusual to see police cars.
In Miami, right?
Because they're always there. I didn't take it as anything. So I went in my apartment, looked at my phone, and I said, Damien didn't call me. There's no missed call. And the reason for that being is that whenever he goes to ride, you'd call me when they stop for lunch or breakfast, and when he's before he gets on the bike to come home, he said, Moms, we're heading home now. There was no message from him that day. So I got puzzled and I took up the phone to call him. And then I heard a knock on the door. I was like saying, I didn't expect any visitor, and there's a code to come into the apartment. So how did these persons get up to my apartment? So I got up and I gingerly opened the door, and there were these two men standing at the door. And I think they said, may we come in? I said, I don't know if I answered. And I said to them, Damien's dead. And they didn't answer me. And they came in. And the next thing they asked me if I had any relatives near where I could call. But by then I've lost it. I was completely out of this world now. Because I knew something had happened.
Right.
And I started to cry. I don't even think I was crying. I was shouting, I was hollering, I was washing on the floor. And they said again, you have anybody we can call? And I remember I had a friend nearby. So I gave them the number, and he called the friend, and he came over. And they tried to calm me. But there was no calm, because I experienced emotions, I experienced different feelings that never existed. And they confirmed that he died in an accident on Card Sound Road. That was the most devastating day of my life.
Right. Yeah, I actually was in Kansas when I got the call, and it was devastating for the family. And there are so many families out there today that's struggling with the death of a loved one. We always say parents should never bury their children, but you had to do that. And I know that there's someone watching this today that you could minister to, because it's been 2 years and you have done so well. Continue to do well. You have wrote a book in his honor, and you continue to do things in his honor. Tell someone today what they could do to help them in their time of grief.
I think you should really trust God to help you through. I live just one day at a time. And there are going to be bad days. There are days when I don't want to see anybody. There are times when I don't want to answer the phone. But at the same time, you have to live on the good memories. Cherish the memories. Cherish the time that you spent with your child. And writing this book, I hope it will be a legacy. That is, life will live on. And for people who will read the book, will understand that there are struggles in life, but regardless of your struggles, you can achieve success through hard work and determination. And that no one can prepare for tragedy. It will happen. When it happens, you just have to be strong and face it.
Take a minute and just say to someone, while it is not easy, you've said it, but where can they get the book? Because the book is such a profound book. And your number, your email address, there's an ebook. How can they get the book?
Presently, the books aren't in the bookstore, but it can be had on Amazon, Kobo, and Nooks. And I have hard copies at home. And my email address is esmine.dunn@gmail.com. And my cell phone number is 347-692-6660. So I can be contacted.
With a book. And you have a Facebook page, I'm sure.
And I have a Facebook page. Other than that, I'll be having a book signing on the 11th of October at West Regional Library, Brownwood West Regional Library at 2 to 6 p.m. So you're all invited.
Right, to attend and get their signed copy of the book.
Get their signed copies of the book.
Very well. Well, Auntie, I want to thank you for being here today. And of course, I'm sure that our viewers will be patronizing and getting the book. And what I implore you to do is not get the book only for yourself, but for someone else, because this speaks to single parents. It speaks to the tragedy that you might face losing a loved one. And it just speaks to how God can take you from strength to strength. And as we say in Get Vision TV, if you can't get it, you can't realize it. Thank you so much, Auntie,
Thanks
for being
for having
here today.
me. It was a pleasure being here.
God bless you.
God bless you too.